So probably one of the wildest things that ever happened to me when I first purchased the agency. I wasn't used to running a staff or even a small business. I was a corporate guy. And one of these young ladies that I hired, had started snowing. It was January, right? And literally I'm looking outside. Oh, wow, look, the sun goes away. The snow starts falling down. I turn around and all of a sudden she's gone. And it was only one of two staff members. And I like, what the hell happened to her? And finally I track her down on her cell phone and she was home. And I said, home? What are you doing home? She goes, oh, it's a snow day. I was like, wow, welcome to the world of small business and owning an insurance agency. Hey, my name's Tom Birks. I own the Tom Birks Agency in Bloomfield, New Jersey, and I'm an insurance dude.
Insurance dudes are on a mission to escape being handcuffed by our agencies.
How? By uncovering the secrets to creating a predictable, consistent, and profitable agency sales machine.
I am Craig Pretzinger.
I am Jason Feldman.
We are agents.
We are insurance dudes.
Right now, while it's fresh in your mind, check out live.teledudes.com.
We took our notes from over 100 interviews with top agents from around the country and made it into a live webcast.
Using these strategies led Craig and I to selling more than $10 million in premium in the last 2 years.
On this call, you'll receive the exact blueprint to get the same results.
Just go to live.teledudes.com to register for this upcoming Tuesday's live call with us.
If you jump on this call with us, we're certain 2022 will be an absolutely fantastic year for you.
See you there. All right. Love it.
I love it. That's a nice one.
She just left.
She just left. She figured she went out the back door. She's like, hey, it's a snow day. And I was like, wait, where'd she go?
She backdoored you.
Yeah, she disappeared. And just by the time I called her.
What's interesting is she came to work, then left.
Literally, there was no accumulation on the ground. All of a sudden, this was like our third day of me opening the agency. And I was like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah.
But now, she was home. She's safe and sound.
Mr. Jason and I don't have a ton of experience with snow, being California and Arizona.
Right. That's true.
But it would seem to me that using the snow day excuse would be that you woke up, you looked out the window, there's too much snow, I can't drive. But she was already there.
She was already there. And
now, is that a New Jersey thing, or was that the previous agency owner thing? Or
you know what? I think it was a her thing. This is the same girl who shortly after we had every time we have someone's birthday, we order cake and stuff and sing and whatnot. And she decided to go in for a third and fourth serving of a Carvel ice cream cake and ended up in the bathroom with diarrhea. And I think it was shortly after that I said, I'm not sure she's got the bones for this business.
Well, in her defense, she did go all in on that.
She did. Oh, hey, listen, it was good cake. I don't blame her going in for that fourth piece. But, now when we do birthday cake, every time we do birthday cake, I make sure I make it understand you can have 2 servings, no more than 2.
Right. Right. No we have a history.
No more diarrhea issues in the office, please.
Oh, that is so good. So, Tom, tell us how you got into the insurance business. You said you were a corporate guy.
Yeah. So I started on Wall Street as a cold calling cowboy, kind of like live the world of the Wolf of Wall Street, in that regards. And then, I had moved away from that world to become a financial planner. I was selling a lot of annuities, among other products, with American Express. And they hired me, and I was an annuity wholesaler for years. I wholesaled with American Express. I wholesaled with AXA Equitable. I wholesaled with Transamerica. Eventually got a job with Allstate as the annuity wholesaler for the New York and New Jersey region. And Allstate at the time, there was, I think about, 14 regional VPs around the country, like myself in the wholesaling unit. They decided to downsize us all. And, here I was, several years into the position at Allstate. Life was great. And on a conference call on January 2nd, they axed us. They got rid of us. And I said, whoa, okay, what am I going to do now? Right. And I said, well, I've been going around to these Allstate agencies all around New York and New Jersey and really helping these people to grow their business on the financial services side. I think I can be a good agency owner. I'm a very process-driven, disciplined, organized individual. And, I started looking into it. It wasn't my plan A. In fact, it was my plan B. So I decided to look into buying an agency, and I did. First I was waiting to buy an agency, so I became the sales manager there for a while, and that deal kind of fell through, unfortunately. But I guess it was a blessing in disguise, and I wound up buying this agency in Bloomfield and took over. I'm the third owner in like the last 70-something years, I think. So it's
wow.
the book has got some longevity, and purchased the book and opened my doors January 1st of 2017.
And plan A was like boat captain?
But you know what? I actually not a big fan of boats, unless it's on a lake, but definitely not out in the sea. No, plan A was to stay a wholesaler.
Okay.
I had left the world of being a financial planner to be a financial wholesaler. I loved that world, traveling. I used to do big group events, client dinners, you name it, consulting with advisors on cases for their customers. And, it was a great world to be in. It was a great job. It was a great lifestyle. And unfortunately, as you guys well know, interest rates took a nosedive over the last several years, and a lot of the big insurance companies started shutting down, the annuities products that they were manufacturing. So probably about half or so of the annuity wholesalers out there lost their jobs. So, I had to recreate myself. And I said, well, I don't want to go too far away from the world of life insurance and financial services, right? So I said, well, you know what? Being an agency owner, I can use the skill sets I have as a financial planner. I can use the skill sets I have as a salesperson. I could use the skill sets as a wholesaler. All of these skill sets, I think, would work very well in that world of being an agency owner. But I wanted to be a different type of agency owner, especially after being in sales for 25 years. I didn't want to come in and start selling auto policies, right? It's like slinging crack. I don't want to be slanging on the corners, right? So I said, I want to buy as big of a book as I can find, and I did. And that was good advice that was given to me by established agents that had been around a long time. I built a staff and I started specializing almost on day one. So I never, to this day, 5 years into owning this agency, and we're a top performing agency, not only in New Jersey, but in the country, I've never done a quote, never once, not one quote. I've never bound an insurance policy myself. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you what the quoting platform looks like. But what I do is
company.
Yeah, right. So I focused on running the business and being a preacher, teacher, coach to my team, rather than, let me be the one that's handling that rate increase call, or, hey, you know what, I'm going to reach out to people and try to quote and close their business. So it's worked out very well for me, being that preacher, teacher, coach.
For sure. Why don't you take us back?
Picture.
Yeah, the big picture.
Yeah.
Take us back to that earliest win you had in the agency that really helped solidify what you're talking about there, like to be the coach.
Yeah. So, when I bought the agency, there was supposed to be 4 people on staff. And that was one of the things that was very luring to me, is that there was an experienced and seasoned staff there. So very quickly, I lost 2 of those people. And I was just kind of left with 1 salesperson, 1 customer service person. And then the customer service person left, and I literally was left with 1 person. So I was answering phones. And I just don't have the patience to do customer service, getting people calling. And at the time, I had bought the book. I didn't realize it, but all of a sudden we started getting massive rate increases across the board. And man, I was burning through calls with people trying to, explain to them why their premium was going up, what we can do to help them out. And I was just getting kicked in the teeth. And I realized, I don't want to be on the phone serving these customers. That right. I didn't get to 25 years in sales and with all the awards and all the accolades and all the success and all the money that came along with it to be a customer service rep. So I was like, you know what, I need to find people that are good at this. People that have the right calm demeanor are what I call huggers, because I'm a hunter.
Yeah.
I'm a hunter. I'm not a hugger. So, I needed people that were huggers that can handle. Now, I can teach people how to do it. I just don't want to do it myself, right?
Yeah.
So, and then I said, okay, I need a team of huggers that can run and manage the relationships with the customers. And then I need a team of hunters that are going to go out there, and I can teach them the things that I need to teach them the things that I've learned over the years as far as advanced sales techniques and tactics, to, go out there and hunt and bring new business into the agency. And I said, I started looking around at different agencies and talking to different people. I was like, none of these people specialize, and I grew up playing sports, right? I grew up playing sports, and, you don't usually play both sides of the ball. I mean, I did in high school, where I was a wide receiver and also an outside linebacker. But, when you get to the college level and above and beyond that, you're not watching Tom Brady move over to middle linebacker after the offense moves off the field and the defense comes on the field, right? So I said, I need to specialize. And that's when, the light bulb went on about 4 months in. And I said, I got to figure out how to do this. And that's when I really started looking around and, started reaching out. I in fact, Craig, I think you're one of the earliest people I spoke to, and we were involved in that agency vault for a little bit, and really starting to understand, okay, we need to have in place what I call the 3 Ps, right? The 3 Ps, people, right? You got to have the right people, right? In the right seat, right? I can't have a person that's really geared for sales in a service seat, or a person geared for service in a sales
100%.
seat, right? The second thing I needed was the right processes, right? And that was something I really had to sit down and look at, because that had never happened at this agency, right? What do we have a process for this? Do we have a process for this? I wanted everything to be process driven and have it written down. And then the last thing was the product. What kind of story are we telling with this product, right? Because I could not accept what other Allstate agencies were telling me. It's just about the rate. I was like, no, it can't be about the rate. I can't just look at myself in the mirror and say I'm only as good as my rate. Because if that's the game I'm going to play, I'm going to lose a lot more often than I'm comfortable with. Yeah. So I said, you know what, there's got to be a way to have a conversation that flows, that really delivers value in the form of our guidance and advice that we can give as insurance advisors. Right. And that was kind of the premise about 4 or 5 months in, where it was like, okay, I need to get these 3 Ps in line: the right people, the right products, the way we tell the stories on the products, and the right processes. And again, I had to go start hunting down people that did it better than I do. So I had, growing up, I was in martial arts, and shout out to Sensei Roy Dorfman, if you're listening
Sensei
right
Roy.
now.
Yeah.
Sensei Roy, right? You never know.
What else would he be doing?
You never know, man. Hey, if it wasn't for Sensei Roy, I wouldn't have won second place in that full contact kumite, the Ying Yi tournament in New York City way back when.
Oh, congratulations.
Love it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. But so, I mean, I was a big fan of Bruce Lee as a kid. And I remember reading a story about Bruce Lee, and Bruce Lee had said, he had one of the most amazing physiques ever, this guy. His muscles were like steel cables. And he said, what he did when he got to California, he started reaching out. He would go to all these gyms, and he would talk to all of these guys that were already in phenomenal shape. And he said, hey, what's the common denominator here? What are they all doing that's the same? And he figured it out, right? He said, okay, that's my starting point. That's the foundation in which I'm going to build off of. So that's what I started doing. Right. And as I mentioned, Craig, I had reached out to you over at Agency Vault. I had reached out to some other people that were in the industry that I felt, were a few levels above me as far as their knowledge and experience. And I started, getting involved in conversations with people. And I would call, some of these agents out of the blue. I just call their office. Hey, my name's Tom Birks. I'm a new agent owner. I'm in Jersey. How's everything going? Hey, I heard of you. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions. Wouldn't you mind helping me out with some things? And that's what I started doing. I started reaching out to people that I thought were in a position where I could learn something from them. And I started taking the common denominators across the board. And I started realizing these were things that I needed to do. I needed to run a process-driven agency. I needed to specialize. And I needed to have a phenomenal new business engine built in my agency. And that's what I really focused on.
Yeah, nothing better lights the fire than answering the phones and trying to talk to people about the rate increases. For us, like sales alpha driven, it's like no, it's the ultimate kryptonite. So definitely love that. Thank you. Great response there.
And I'll say this last piece to that. I'll say, I realize also my strengths. I wasn't great at creating. Like I wasn't going to create an agency vault, right? Or I wasn't going to create, whatever some of the other training programs that are out there that are pretty high profile and good, right? But I said, you know what? I am great at making things better. I can take something that someone else has created and I can find ways to improve upon it and make it even better. And I knew that was my strength. And that's why, I think I started to rapidly find success, because I took whatever was already working and I made it my own and I made it better.
I love that. So you were talking about your team. You went down to one person, and when you built it back up, you had I love the huggers and the hunters. I love that metaphor. I'm going to start using that. Besides the huggers and the hunters, were there any other roles? And you were the coach, obviously.
Yeah.
Were there any other roles in your agency?
Well, listen, at the time, like I said, after I bought this agency, just a few days into it or so, unfortunately, I lost 2 of the 4 people. And again, I was left with a salesperson and a service person. Unfortunately, the customer service person was the agent who I bought the book from, was his mother-in-law. So he recruited her to babysit his kids and took her out of the agency, which was not a lot of fun. I didn't see that one coming. And then another agent tried to recruit my only person left. Like he came in with a resignation letter, and I was like, dude, you can't leave me here by myself, man. Like, I'm going to drive my car off the Brooklyn Bridge, right? So, we were able to keep him, and I just started building from there. So I kept him obviously in sales. I was doing the customer service. I wanted to fire myself as quickly as possible from that. So I did find a young lady who was bilingual that worked at a bank that I thought was really good. We brought her in. And then the next person I brought on was another salesperson. So then I had me, 2 salespeople, and a customer service rep. I started working with a financial specialist as well. So, this way we can write the life insurance and, the annuities and all the different things that we needed to write. The next person I brought in was a 3rd salesperson. And then after that, another service person. So, within about a year, within that first year, I winded up with 3 people specializing in sales, 2 people on the customer service side, and 1 financial specialist. And we just kept building it and building it and building it. Now we're at, 9 sales agents, 4 customer service reps, 3 financial specialists, and currently 3 telemarketers, hopefully probably a 4th soon. So I think we've come close to doubling premium in my first 5 years of owning the book, which I didn't expect it to happen that fast. My goal was to get there by the time my loan was paid off in 10 years, but we're almost there at the end of the 5th year. So I'm ahead of schedule. But I think that's only because I just decided to kind of go all in and not look back.
Yeah.
Love it.
Almost a greater achievement than getting second place in that martial arts contest.
You know what? I should have had first place. The kid was a lot smaller than me, and he got a point on me. And when he went to kick me, I grabbed his arm and pulled his arm down and kicked him in the neck. And unfortunately, because I was holding his hand, pulling his guard down, they didn't give me the point. So this little guy, he ran around the ring for the rest of the time, and I kept chasing him. I couldn't catch him in time, and the time ran out, and therefore I lost. But that's going to live with me. I got to live with that for the rest of my life.
I can tell it doesn't bother you.
It does. I came up short, second place at the Ying Yi tournament, and if you're and if that little guy's out there listening, I'll be happy for a rematch.
Right here on the Insurance News podcast,
and we'll film it. Yes,
we'll film it.
Commentary.
That's right.
Well. So with that big staff and all of the different pieces, different personalities, what have you done to create a really strong agency culture? Because you got to have it if you've got that many people.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, I'm here. Those 2 words, I think, are probably the most important things I can say to answer that question. I'm here. Right. I talk to a lot of agents and they'll call me up, because I think we wrote over 2,500 policies this year, and they'll be like, oh man. And they see the numbers. Everybody sees the numbers. Like, I don't know how you doing this. How you doing this? How you doing this? And I'll say, well, let me ask you a question. What time do you get to the office every day? Well, I kind of roll in around 11 o'clock. Okay. What time you leaving? 3, 4. Are you there every day? Nah, not every day. Some days, I said, that's the first problem. You're not there. You know what I'm saying? You're letting the inmates run the asylum,
Right.
It's like, you can't do that. So, I am here every morning before my staff gets here every day.
Nice.
Right. Every day.
Yep.
We start morning role play. Listen, 9 o'clock, the agency officially opens. The phones turn back, from our carriers, 800 line back into the agency at 9 o'clock. Before 9 o'clock, we're role playing. We're drilling something. right? We're taking how to eat an elephant one bite at a time. So each morning we're taking a bite of something. We're working on overcoming an objection, the price is too high, or maybe the next day we're working on how to build rapport, right? Or the next day we're working on, how to fill dead air when gathering the information to do the quote, right? Because dead air is the worst thing you can have. So, every day I'm there, I'm literally listening to phone calls with staff members. And it's like watching game film, right? Look at the Tom Brady's and the Peyton Mannings of the world, right? They play the game on Sunday, Monday morning, they're in there early before anybody. They're watching the game film. What did they do right? What do they could do better? And the same thing with us. We're listening to phone calls, right? What did you do well? What could you do better, right? So again, I'm there. Right? That's my motto. I'm there, right? I don't pick up phones. I'm not doing customer service work. I'm not trying to sell policies. I'm here as a preacher, teacher, coach to make my team as great as they can possibly be. And here's the thing. When they're great, my agency's great. I can't be a great agency without great people. It's my biggest investment of time. It's my biggest investment of money. But without them, honestly, I'm nothing. What am I going to do? Right. I'm going to run a $10 million book myself, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, the reality of it is you have to be there. And I'm hard on my people. I'm hard on them, because of my processes. And I say, listen, I'm not going to micromanage you, but I will micromanage my processes. And when they're not following the processes, I don't wait. I'll stop everything and say, hey, wait a minute. Let's go back to that phone call. Let's say I was walking out to grab a cup of coffee or something in the break room, and I hear them. As soon as they get off the call, hey, stop what you're doing. Let's listen to that call. I want to walk through what you did on that close, right? And I'll pull the call and we'll listen to it. I say, you see, that wasn't assumptive and assertive, right? It was like giving somebody a flimsy handshake, right? You didn't you didn't close the right way, and then they threw you
the dead fish.
Yeah, the dead fish handshake. Then they threw you the objection, right? And you fell apart, right? You didn't follow, right, what we're teaching you in our process, right? Let's go back. What should have we done? How should have we handled this? So we're going to Monday morning quarterback it, right? Or if I see a sale come in on our system, oh, awesome. I'll always send a note. Hey, congrats, awesome job. But before I do that, I see if they status the lead the right way in the lead management system that we use. And if it's not status is sold, hey, great job. But hey, please make sure your status the lead is sold, right? Especially if it's a monoline, because we want to make sure that we have another shot at that in 30 days to cross-sell and bundle that policy, right? I go in, every week and I look at their pipeline. Are they following up on their tasks, right? Do they have stuff overdue? So a lot of what I'm doing is really inspecting what I'm expecting. So not only do we teach the processes and we drill on them, right? We'll drill on them, right? I'll call people out and put them on the spot in our role play. And I tell them, guys, I'm going to be harder on you in the role play than it's probably going to be in real life. It's meant to be that way, right? When I worked on Wall Street back in the cold call cowboys days of the 90s, I mean, they'd have us in a circle. There'd be 40, 50 young brokers around yelling at you objections and rebuttals, and you'd have to overcome them on your feet. No pitch book in front of you. You have to learn this stuff, make it a part of you, right? Mm-hmm. So, we spend a lot of time on the things that we need to learn, but that I'm always looking for ways to provide those coachable moments. Right. I'll hear someone say, hey, so Jason, is it okay if I, give you this quote? Whoa, red flag.
Thank you.
Right? Red flag. Right. So as soon as they're off the phone, I'm not going to stop them while they're on the phone, but as soon as they're off the phone, hey, because again, it's fresh in their mind, right? Yep. I don't want to wait until next week's sales meeting. Right. So, I want to hear it. And while it's fresh in your mind, say, hey, let's go back to, why did you say that? I didn't train you to say that. So why did you say that? Right. Because remember, their natural inclination is not to follow your sales process. Right.
Right. Yes.
It's not to follow your sales process. It's to become extremely transactional, fill out all the information that your quoting platform is asking for, and then, hey, delivering, here's the rate.
Right.
And then oftentimes not even asking for the business, Yep. So, you have to look at, okay, here's our process. And I look at our process as like making marinara sauce, right? If the three of us make marinara sauce, we're all going to use olive oil, garlic, and tomatoes. Now, Jason, you may like green peppers in yours, and Craig may say, well, I like to put, onions in mine, I may say, well, I don't like either of those things. I want to put meatballs in mine. And Jason's like, yeah, I throw chicken in. And, Craig's like, I like sausage, So, but the base of the foundation is
I would say
same.
it like that too.
The sausage, right?
I like a sausage.
But the thing with, the sales process is that the steps are the steps. You could be listen, it's part art and part science. The science is the process, right? The art part, that's you. That's your personality, right? And we spend a lot of time talking about tonality. And tonality is interesting because it's like playing a piano. There's 88 keys on a piano. Most people that play piano know how to play with like 12, 15, but those are 88 keys on your piano. Learn how to play them. Right. So when we start talking about learning how to do reasonable man tones and different kinds of tonal patterns using your voice, the tonality that you use is there to influence and persuade that prospect that you're talking to. And again, used ethically, there's nothing wrong with that. Right. So if I'm doing a tritonal closing pattern on Craig to close his business, and I'm going from an absolute certain tone to an utter sincerity tone, to a reasonable man tone, right? And I'm using that to close business. It's so far advanced than just, hey, here's your rate, do you want to pay with your credit card kind of thing, right?
Yep. Right.
And again, how you get you use your body language to trick yourself into the right tonality. So if you ever see me talking on the phone, the hands are moving, I'm up, right? So we drill on so many different things because I tell my people, listen, you want to be in the insurance business and you want to be great, you come work here. You want to be number one, you come work here. You want to be number two, go work somewhere else. In fact, I'll be happy to make a call to another Allstate agent on your behalf. Excuse my French for saying, the name. But I've done that. So listen, you want to be mediocre? That's great. Mediocre people don't get along with high achievers like me. And high achievers like me, we don't get along with mediocre people, right?
No,
I
love it.
We're going to drill, right? I'm going to put pressure on you, right? Just like, enough pressure is put on a piece of coal, it becomes a diamond. Enough pressure is put on an olive, it becomes a beautiful olive oil, right? So the same thing here. It's like I'm going to put that pressure on you, right? Because the reality of it is that I want to try to mold you into what I know that you need to be successful in this business. But it's okay within the process for the art part. Again, I'm going to teach you the science, the art part to shine, who you are, right? That's that ingredient I can't give you. Right? You come to the table with the will to win, I'll give you the skill, but you got to have the will because I'm 25 plus years in this business and I'm still not satisfied.
I love it.
A lot of people say that's a bad thing. Believe me, I've had people that work for me. One of my top producers one time said, you know what, Tom, you're never satisfied. Thank you for the compliment. Thank you for the compliment, man. I'm never sad. You wrote 50 items last month. Congratulations. Get back on the phone for 51. Good job. Oh, you had a great month. You wrote 65 items last month. Can we do 70 this month? Oh, you're never satisfied. You're right.
What's so interesting? Total tangent. I was on the plane for a very long time yesterday, and I was watching this special, the surf special about the biggest wave. It's Brett McNamara, who is the first guy to ride a 100-foot wave. And they were saying that about him. Like he's never, like his wife, he's never satisfied. He always has to go to the next thing. And when you look at anybody who's accomplished like world-changing things, it's true, right? They're not satisfied. And, that's what took from going from riding, 30-foot waves, and that's the big thing, to 120-foot waves in Portugal in the winter, right? Just crazy. Like, I think it pushes you not being satisfied, me not being satisfied, Jason not being satisfied is what pushes the industry further, right? It pushes everybody further.
Yeah. And listen, I always say to my staff, hey, I'm not looking to be Warren Buffett over here, but, I want to be successful. I want to be successful. I am successful. And here's the thing. When I'm hiring people, I explain to them, listen, I'm going to give you talent, right? I'm going to give you my talent. I'm going to give you my time. And I'm going to give you my treasure, meaning I'm going to invest my money in you, right? And I'll ask them, what is it that you want to accomplish? Financially speaking, what are your goals? You want to own a home? I can help you accomplish that, right? You want to own your own agency someday? I can help you accomplish that. Hey, you want to be an agent and then maybe on the side have real estate, investments? I can help you accomplish that. You want to learn how to invest in the stock market and build a portfolio of mutual funds or individual stocks? I can help you with that. I'm going to help you with more than just becoming a great agent. We're going to use the money that you earn as a great agent to help create real wealth for yourself. And the good news is I've done it myself. I'm a kid from the streets of Brooklyn with a high school diploma. I went into the military, right? There's no college degree here, right? There's no privilege background of being, growing up in a family of money. Listen, I've gotten on the phone and I've learned how to share my value for your money. That's it. That's what I'm good at. I get on the phone, I share my value for your money. And one of the things that, again, going back to this concept of never being satisfied, is I learned this from Earl Nightingale. I don't know if you guys know the name, but Earl Nightingale spoke with a very raspy voice, right? He wrote a program years ago. He was like one of the first success gurus on American radio, and he had the strangest secret. And that was one of the big things. He said, you should never stop learning, never stop growing, never be satisfied.
Love that. Yeah. Yeah. You always have to have that hunger. Otherwise, you just have to.
And the day, and again, for anybody that's listening, the day you lose it, it's time to go.
Yeah. That's the momentum, right? The hunger is what creates the momentum. And without the momentum, you're right. Hey, what are you still doing here?
Well, while you're still here and while it's fresh in your mind, check out live.teledudes.com.
Yeah, if you weren't listening before, we took notes from over 100 interviews with top agents from around the country and made it into a live webcast.
Using these strategies did help Craig and I write over $10 million in premium in the last couple years.
And let me tell you, on this call, you'll receive the exact blueprint to get the very same results.
Again, that's live.teledudes.com to register for this upcoming Tuesday's live call with us.
And if you jump on with us, we are certain 2022 will be an absolutely fantastic year for you.
See you there.